The young woman wanted to tell her story.
I was in this weird detached state of mind, and I just kept saying, please God, please make it stop. Please God, please make it stop. Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock. I'm Natasha Smith.
Natasha Smith is a student at a journalism school in Britain. A documentary on women's rights in Egypt was to be her final college project and her first international assignment, but it quickly descended into hell. She was filming in the square with journalist friends Callum Patton and Casper Voot, but they became separated by a mob.
Men started ripping off my clothes, and first of all it was my skirt, and that just went straight away. And I didn't even feel my underwear being removed, and then my shoes went, and then my clothes on my upper half were just ripped off me, and that was quite painful.
CNN's rooftop camera caught the moment an ambulance tried to push its way through the crowds to help her. By this point, she was being sexually assaulted by dozens of men. Finally, after what must have seemed like an eternity, she was rescued and taken to the relative safety of this medical tent. Her friend Callum thinks had the staff there not helped, she might not have survived her horrific ordeal.
There were several moments at which I thought that she was going to die, and I think really the fact that we're all still alive, and especially Natasha is alive, is because there were so many people who were willing to help us and who risked their own lives and put them in direct danger to get her out of that situation.
Inside the tent, a man helped disguise her with a full-length burqa and escorted her away from the mob.
And I just had to pretend to be his wife and walk through the streets, and he just kept saying to me, don't cry, do not cry. If you cry, people will know.
Eventually, she made it to this hospital, where she and Callum were met by British Embassy staff, who together with doctors have corroborated their account to CNN.
There's been all this fuss because I'm British, and I'm young, and I'm a girl, but this is happening to women elsewhere constantly, and we don't hear about that. We don't hear about the stories of Egyptian women, or African women, or women across the world who will often suffer these attacks, and worse attacks, and there'll be no justice done.
Natasha Smith is now back in the UK, her documentary on hold, but she defiantly insists she will return to Cairo to finish her work, in spite of her terrifying experience at the hands of a mob.
A brave young woman and a horrifying experience. That was Dan Rivers reporting. And Dan joins us now live from Cairo. And Dan, a very high proportion of women there in Egypt are sexually assaulted. Why does this happen, and will it end?
That's right. I mean, sadly, you know, the cases that hit the headlines end up being Westerners. Lara Logan hit the headlines last February. She was a CBS reporter here in Tahrir Square, suffered a similar attack. But as you say, the reality is this is going on all the time against Egyptian women. I'm joined by Arnous, who's a women's rights campaigner. He founded an NGO here to campaign on these issues. How common is this for Egyptian women to endure this kind of sexual assault?
Actually, yes, Egyptian women have a lot of this kind of sexual harassment. When we have a big demonstration, we have a lot of Egyptian girls and Egyptian women beaten by men and naked by men, but Egyptian women refuse to talk about it because the society love for them, because the society in Egypt just blames the women, blames the girl, blames the victims, so they prefer to stop talking about it. But sure, we have this accident every day for Egyptian women.
And you said that this has got worse since the revolution. The attitude of the men on the streets has got more aggressive.
Actually, yes, but it's not because of the revolution. It's because of the absence of the police and the extremists of the religious, because now we have Islamist parliament, and we have now president from Muslim Brotherhood, and when you have extremists in religious, you have this attitude of men, because some of them believe that when he harass a girl in the street, he do something normal, because he believes in this girl is like a prostitute because she uncovered or wear something like I am wearing, because he just wants the girl covered and black from the head to the foot.
So you're sort of saying that if you're not covered up in a full veil, they consider that it's acceptable for them to abuse you, harass you, touch you?
Yes, a lot of them believe that. But also, the covered girl get harassed in the streets.
Okay, all right, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It is clearly an issue which the new president-elect Morsi is going to have to get to grips with here, an issue that affects thousands of Egyptian women that we don't hear about, that feel they can't report this to the police because they're told the police won't take it seriously, or they're told simply it will bring shame on them and their family. Christy.
Yeah, Dan, very disturbing to hear from the activist just then that attacks against women in Egypt have risen since the revolution last year. Dan Rivers reporting live from Cairo. Thank you. You're watching Newsstream. And still ahead, the crisis hitting the capital, what increasing violence in Damascus means in the Syrian conflict. And more than 6 hectares destroyed. We'll find out why there could be hope for firefighters in Colorado.
From passion to portfolio, in association with First Bank. First Bank, truly the first.
I'm Josie Cruz Natori, founder and president of the Natori Company. It's a lifestyle brand that is based on an East-West sensibility. I always wanted to be in business and was in Wall Street for 9 years. I got bored and wanted a new challenge.